We're going to have a capacity crowd of over 6,000 on hand today at Sewell Thomas Stadium for our SEC Game of the Week between Auburn and Alabama. Auburn 27-16, 9-10 in league play. Alabama 36-7. They have won 14 games in the Southeastern Conference. Let's take a look at the Auburn lineup and pretty much what they went with last night. They produced 5 runs early on, but they could not hold on to beat Alabama. Jonathan Sherholtz will lead things off and play third base. He's having a good year offensively, 339 average. He has 13 RBI. Sean Gamble's in left field hitting .264. Javon Moran, who we highlighted in the open, at .328. He's stolen 12 bases as well. Huddleston, a big bat in the middle of the lineup, 6 home runs. Behind him, the catcher Pratt, 7 home runs, 38 RBIs, 9 doubles. Scott Shade will play first base hitting .295. Doug Vines is out in right field at .283. Tug Hewlett, the second baseman, hitting .305. And rounding out the lineup, Chuck Girolamo, the shortstop, at .279. Alabama getting set to take the field here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. And this has been a club that has really impressed a lot of folks this year. They were expected to finish in the bottom third of the Southeastern Conference this year, but right now they're standing tall among the SEC leaders with a 14-5 mark in SEC play. And how about their home record? They had a 27-game home winning streak snapped, which dates back to last weekend against the Ole Miss Rebels.
It's also a baseball team, Dave, that got significantly improved when they got some good bullpen help. It's the one thing that really hurt their club last year. They didn't get into the tournament, and I think that was primarily the reason, is because they didn't have people coming out of there to help them.
They got a great performance last night out of Taylor Tankersley, who came in and shut the door on Auburn to pick up the win. He has been phenomenal out of that bullpen. Larry on the mound today.
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Norris. This is an interesting young man. We'll have more about him later on in the game. You can see this is his 6th start. How about that earned run average of 1.93? The left-hander is 4-0. You can see that 37 in the 3rd innings. He's only given up 8 runs. A great walk to strikeout ratio, 8-25. Got a pretty good defense playing behind him, too. And let's take a look at the defense. Occupying the first base spot, as he usually does, is Brent Boyd. Peter Stoner will be the second baseman this afternoon. And over third base with a rare start is Carlos Sosa. He'll be down at the hot corner. Adam Pavkovich, I think one of the better shortstops in the Southeastern Conference. In left field, only the 7th start of the year for Chad White. He's throwing the ball to Scott McClanahan, who has anchored that center field position for Alabama, giving them also some good senior leadership. And in right field, Travis Gardner. It's his spot. And behind the plate, I think one of the best catchers in all of college baseball, Jeremy Brown. Passed up getting drafted by the Red Sox last summer to come back for his senior year. And, boy, has he paid dividends for this Alabama baseball team. Here's a scouting report for Jeffrey Norris. And as we said, not a lot of people have seen this guy, and we'll tell you why in just a few moments, but throws in the upper 70s. No, that's not very hard. He's got 3 awfully good pitches, the fastball, the curve, and the changeup. Keeps the ball away and changes speeds very effectively.
And a nice day for baseball as Jonathan Sherholtz gets ready to step in. Norris leads all SEC pitchers with a 2.03 ERA in league games. And the first pitch on the way to Sherholtz is in there for a strike. Sherholtz has a .419 on base percentage in SEC play, so a good matchup to start the game today. Sherholtz had a couple of errors last night at third base in what was a strange baseball game. That misses outside, 1-1. Sherholtz lost his job at shortstop, but Steve Renfro, the head coach, had to get him in the lineup, found him a spot at third base, and ever since he got that leadoff spot, Sherholtz has been pretty good for the Auburn Tigers, to say the least. Sherholtz last night went 0 for 4.
Boy, he had a terrific March. He hit .485 in the month of March. A little bit different story in April, though. He's fallen on some hard times.
He told me a couple of weeks ago that he's really seeing a lot of breaking pitches. Not getting much to hit. Guys were going at him early on when he came in, because he didn't hit very well last year. So guys were really throwing some strikes, trying to get him to hit it. And there's another strike, and Jonathan didn't hit it.
And guess what? It was a breaking ball.
First strikeout of the game for Norris.
Watch Norris come in there. Boy, that is a good bender right there. Dropped it right in on the outside part of the plate. Throws Shearholtz right in his tracks.
Norris in his last outing was against Ole Miss. Won his third straight SEC game. Pitched a complete game, 2 runs. 1 of them was earned. Gave up 8 hits, 2 strikeouts. But of the 8 hits, 7 of those were singles. As Sean Gamble steps in. And that was against Ole Miss. And remember, Ole Miss came in here on Friday night and beat Alabama to snap their home winning streak. So it was a very important game for Alabama. And he just put on a show.
You know, Dave, in fact, his last 2 outings have been like that. He also threw a complete game against Kentucky. 9 innings, gave up only 1 run on 2 hits. So he's had 2 good back-to-back games.
Another breaking ball in there for a strike. 1 and 2 to Gamble, the left fielder. Gamble last night had a hit, scored a run. Expect to see curveballs quite a bit. There's one. Fouled off at the plate.
You know, if you're a guy that likes to go up there and just say, come on, give me your best stuff. Just throw it up here as hard as you want to throw it. You get a guy up there just throwing ping pong balls at you. I mean, it just drives you crazy.
Jim Wells said against Kentucky, he gave up some hits against the Wildcats, but Kentucky just started swinging out of their shoes and popped up many of the pitches he threw. That breaking pitch down in the dirt. Larry, here's a kid that from the neighborhood, so to speak, went to Vestavia Hills High School just outside of Birmingham, but took 2 years off out of high school to work on a Mormon mission and didn't play baseball, and nobody really knew what to expect. And here he is now on the mound for the Crimson Tide. The 2-2, that just misses.
And his last 3 wins have been against all Southeastern Conference teams. He beat Florida, he beat Kentucky, he beat Ole Miss.
And 3-2. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Norris, who seems to have command of his breaking pitch today.
Well, they got Shearholtz looking. This time he got Gamble swinging. Another good breaking pitch, that time away from the left-handed hitting Gamble.
Boy, he has got to be. If I'm a left-handed hitter, I don't want to step in that box.
Just give me the parachute. I'll bail out now.
Here's Javon Moran. 328, couple of home runs, 31 RBIs, 8 doubles. On the center fielder. Norris came into the game with 25 strikeouts and 37 innings of work. You see what Moran did last night. Scored a couple of runs, had a double as well. There's a ground ball back up the middle, and Moran continuing to play very well offensively for the Auburn Tigers. So a 2-out single by Auburn puts Moran over at first. Bobby Huddleston, with a 5-game hitting streak, steps in, the designated hitter. Second on the team in home runs, 3rd in RBIs. That's 14 doubles to pace this club. Here's a fastball right by Huddleston. I don't think Bobby's going to see a lot of fastballs. You may get one by him.
Makes the job easy when they swing down too far.
Last night had a big double.
Flip that corn in your pocket.
A couple of RBIs. Huddleston hitting .324 in league play. Right back to the pitcher, Norris, and that'll do it. Huddleston hit it hard, but right at the pitcher. So Auburn leaves one. We move to the bottom of the first.
Cooper Tire is proud to be the official tire of the Southeastern Conference. Cooper Tires. Drive on.
It's not where you come from. It's where you're going. It's not what you drive. It's what drives you. It's not what's on you. It's what's in you. Gatorade. Is it in you?
Move to the bottom of the first inning. Super fan. Been here since, well, about the time I got here, about 3.5 hours before the game.
I think he slept here last night.
I hope not, because that shirt will stink. Anyway, let's take a look at that Alabama lineup. This is how they will attack Colby Paxton of Auburn. Scott McClanahan in center field, hitting .331. Adam Pavkovich at shortstop, 264, 287. Peter Stonert at second base, 394. Jeremy Brown behind the plate at 345 with 10 homers. Brent Boyd at first. Bo Harrod, your DH. Chad White left, hitting eighth is Carlos Sosa, hitting .267. Travis Garner hits ninth in right field.
And on the mound, Colby Paxton, his 12th start of the year, an outstanding record of 8-3. This is one of the aces in the Southeastern Conference. Even with that 4.57 earned run average, you can see he's already thrown 65 innings this year, giving up 33 runs. How about that? All of them earned, every run. 20 walks, 34 strikeouts in that 65 innings. And here's the defense behind him. Gamble in left, Moran in center, Bynes in right. Shearholz at third. Geralman, I think maybe the best defensive shortstop in the SEC. Hewlett and Shade on the right side of the infield. Pratt behind the plate. And Paxton on the mound today for the Auburn Tigers. Here's a scouting report for Colby Paxton. He throws in the low 90s and sometimes into the mid 90s. Fastball, I think, is his best pitch. Works that changeup very effectively. He's got to stay ahead in the count, though. Has a tendency to be wild.
Another key for Colby is to get that changeup over for a strike. If he can do that, change his speeds, he's very, very effective. Scott McClanahan to lead off, looks at a fastball. That's misses a little bit upstairs. McClanahan, Larry, the only guy on this Alabama team. This is how Jim Wells has worked this club this year. He's the only guy on this team that has played every game at the same spot. There's a strike.
Well, we had a couple of changes today from last night. Carlos Sosa, who's playing at third base today, was a late inning defensive replacement. He got the start today. And Chad White with that surprise start in left field today.
Ground ball to second. Hewlett has to fire in a hurry, and he gets the out. So McClanahan is retired for out number one. Look at that Auburn defense, Larry. They had 4 errors last night, tied season high in that department. They came in one of the best fielding teams in America, fielding at a 972 clip. It's still at 970, which would set a school record if they continue that. So very surprising last night that this club made so many errors.
Yeah, they ranked second in the Southeastern Conference in fielding. They really are one of the better defensive teams in the league. They've also turned 44 double plays. That ranks second in the Southeastern Conference, too.
Adam Pavkovich steps in. Adam riding a career-high 9-game hitting streak. During that streak, hitting just .286, however, 12 of 42, has a home run and 7 RBIs. That misses outside. Boy, what a difference of pitchers today that we're going to see. It'll be interesting to watch. One guy throws in the upper 70s, one guy throws in the low 90s.
Sounds funny for you to say he throws in the upper 70s.
Yeah, it's Paxton's last outing was against Mississippi State. It was his shortest stint of the season, 2 1/3 innings pitched, and a walk to Pavkovich.
He's had some pretty good outings this year, though, even though he did lose that game against Mississippi State. His 2 previous outings, one against Ole Miss, he went a complete game, 9 innings, giving up 3 runs on only 8 hits, and he also beat LSU going 6 innings. Lost to Florida, beat Tennessee, and beat Kentucky, so he's really been one of their stalwarts out there on the mound so far this spring.
A bunt down the third baseline goes foul. Long I'll go back and do it again.
You know, the other thing I like about him is he's not a strikeout pitcher. The most he has struck out all year long. He struck out 6 against Kentucky. But he's a guy that forces you to hit the ball. He'll put the ball in spots to make you swing the bat, and he gets your infield and your outfield active out there.
Stonard at the plate this year, .394. He's played in the outfield a little bit, but due to some circumstances, they've had to move him over to second base. He's started 5 different spots in his career here. Right field, left field, DH, first base, second base. Could be 2. Paxton throws it high. Everybody's safe.
Well, Colby Paxton just didn't get a hold of this ball. He had an easy double play. He just threw it way too high and out of the reach of Geralman over there, who could not make the throw to first. And everybody's safe for Alabama. Now runners at first and second, only 1 down. They've got to give him the error.
So already Auburn behind the 8 ball. They've walked the batter, and they've given Alabama an extra out, at least at this point, with an error. Here's Jeremy Brown. Jeremy at .345. Jeremy hitting .333 in league play. Last night, Jeremy went 0 for 3, but he did score a run. Had a couple of walks. One down in the inning.
You know, Dave, last night Alabama had a little change of character as compared to what happened to them last weekend. They were getting base hits, timely hits, and getting runners in. Last weekend against Mississippi, they stranded 24 base runners, 16 of them in scoring position in 2 of those 3 losses they had against Ole Miss. Last night, they got some big hits.
Big swing by Brown. 2-1 the count. Brown has reached base 93 of his last 96 games. I would say that that's pretty consistent. And he's reached base 10 of his last 15 plate appearances as the throw goes back to second.
How about his career? Started out as a freshman All-American on Baseball America's team, hitting .347. Hit .322 as a sophomore, .363 as a junior. Now here he is in his senior year hitting .345. That's 4 great years.
2-1. That's it. Just foul over the bag at third base. Well, Brown's a guy, Larry, that came here recruited as a third baseman, but because of a numbers game over at first, they didn't have anybody over there, so he volunteered, told his coach Jim Wells, he said, hey, I don't know what I can do over there, but I can guarantee I'll at least stop it. I don't know if the guy will be out or safe, but I guarantee you he won't get to second because of my lack of effort. So he goes over there, played the whole season, made an error. The only error he made all season was the last game of the regular season. And then he says to coach, I'll be your catcher if you need me back there, and they move him back there.
And he's been outstanding behind the plate.
Here's a ground ball to third. Sherholtz goes to second, on to first. Big double play for the Auburn Tigers. They get out of a potential jam. And Alabama will end up leaving one. Jonathan Sherholtz with a nice defensive play to start the double play. On to the second baseman, Hewlett, and over to Scott Shade. And that'll do it for the Crimson Tide. We will move to the second. Stay with us.
Hey, you know what?
What?
You gotta eat.
Well, it's in your eyes. Ain't no surprise. You got a thing for checkers. Check it out. You gotta eat. Ain't nothing like this place. You gotta eat. Ain't nothing like this taste. You gotta eat. You gotta feed your face. You gotta eat.
You gotta try Checkers' new Kahlua shakes. One of our nothing like 'em, gotta have 'em, way too thick for a straw shakes. Kahlua shakes right now at Checkers.
You gotta eat.
Armstrong gonna take it from the down. Makes that shot look so easy. Here goes Armstrong. Oh, is he hot or what? Beautiful feed to the Raiders.
The
Hornets and the Magic. Coverage begins Tuesday at 6:30 with Magic Tonight.
Steve Renfro, the head coach of the Auburn Tigers in his second season, took his team to the NCAA Regionals last year in his first season as the head man, of course, a longtime assistant for Hal Baird. And they lost in the championship game of the regional last year in Tallahassee to Florida State. And today got his hands full again. And on the mound is a man that we touched on it, Larry. Jeffrey Norris is a guy that took a couple of years off out of high school from playing baseball, and really nobody knew what to expect or what he had to offer.
Well, this is a young man who graduated from Vestavia Hills High School, which is right around Birmingham, in 1997. He had an 0.64 earned run average and ended up serving a 2-year mission with the Mormon Church. It's interesting what his dad said to him about going on that mission for 2 years. He asked him about, how quickly can I get back, because he didn't have a chance during that 2 years to play any baseball. And his dad said, well, for most athletes, he says, the guys that have the hardest time returning, he said, are football linemen and pitchers. And he said the longest guy to come back and get ready to play are pitchers. So here he is back as a walk-on, and I mean, he has been a terrific find for Jim Wells.
Well, he was 12-2 as a senior in high school in '97 with a .64 ERA for Sammy Dunn's Vestavia Hills High School. They won the state championship. There's a line drive into right field by Trent Pratt. That'll drop in for a base hit. Trent will hold up at first base. And what's interesting about that is Sammy Dunn is the father of former Auburn catcher Casey Dunn. And out of when he finished his Mormon mission, Jeffrey Norris, that is, he actually was offered a scholarship by BYU, but said no because he felt comfortable here and just enjoyed Jim Wells and what this university had to offer. So that's why he's here.
How about that, though? A guy that pitches in 1997 in high school, and now here he is in college in the year 2002.
That's one of the things Jim Wells really likes about Norris is his ability to be a mature figure for some of the young guys on this club. When Coach Wells goes out to the mound and says, listen, we're in a jam here. What do you think? What do you want? Do you think you could go? He says, no, I get a ground ball. No problem, Coach.
You got to love the confidence.
Shade hits it foul. 1-1 the count to the first baseman, hitting .295 with 36 RBIs this year. Second on the team behind Pratt, who stands over at first base.
Well, I think it's interesting that after he came back from that 2-year mission, they redshirted him a year. So he sat out 1 year and now is back in here pitching very effectively.
There's a strike on the outside half of the plate. And Jim Wells was reluctant to use him because when you see a guy throw 78, 79 miles an hour is as good as he can get, a couple times after the first time around an order, guys can kind of tune you in. So when he finally put him in and saw a success, he stuck with him. But there's a base hit down the right side. That's going to be 2 at least for Shade. Pratt is held up at third. Throw home, so Auburn in business now. Pratt and Shade with back-to-back hits. Now Auburn's got something going here with nobody down in the second.
Nicely timed. Sometimes when you're a hitter and you get up in that first inning, you take the message back to the oncoming hitters and let them know for the guys who are coming up. Here's what he's throwing. Here's where he's throwing it. Get ready for it. Back off a little bit. You're not going to see the fastball. You're going to see a lot of breaking stuff. And I think maybe these two guys at second and third right now may have gotten that message.
And Wells already out to the mound to talk to his club. Doug Vines, the right fielder, due up against Norris. Vines .283 this year with a home run, 16 RBIs. Vines had a couple of hits last night, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Vines stands way up in the batter's box against Norris. Look where he stands, Larry. I mean, you don't see that very often. Guys like to get in the back of that box, but he is way up in front.
Let me tell you something he does very well. He can really hit the ball well to left field. He had a couple stroked out there last night. He's not a strictly pull hitter. He's a spray hitter. And a lot of it goes to left and left center.
couple of hits last night. Raised his average to 203 in league play. Doug has struggled a little bit against SEC opponents. He's just trying to jump on that breaking pitch as quickly as he can. Doug, by the way, has lost quite a bit of weight. He started the year back in December, really before the season started, about 240 some odd pounds, but he's down now under 220 pounds, and coach says he's getting in great shape. He's a stellar performer, so if he can stay in shape, he'll be a big contributor to this program. Fouls it off his foot. Do it again.
You know, Dave, he's another one of those interesting stories on this Auburn squad. This is a young man who is the brother of T.J. Vines, the basketball player at guard at Georgia Tech, who had such a good year this past year. And when he was in high school, he had a good junior year in high school. His senior year was just pathetic. I mean, he even admits to the fact that he did not play well his senior year, and nobody wanted him. And then there was somebody that T.J. Vines, his brother, knew, who passed the word on to Coach Steve Renfro, said, you got to take a look at this guy. You know, he went to Kennesaw State in junior college and never played junior college baseball. So here was Steve Renfro taking a chance on this young man, and he's really played very well for him.
As we were talking to Steve before the game today, the way things are set up amongst colleges now with these Hope scholarships and whatnot, schools like Auburn and Alabama, they got to take a chance every now and then. Vines took a chance at the breaking pitch and missed it. Third strikeout of the game for Norris.
Well, once again, Norris comes in with that breaking pitch. Vines way out in front of it.
You can expect to see a steady diet of breaking balls. You're a left-handed hitter facing Jeffrey Norris. And Doug Hewlett as well steps up in the box, trying to catch that breaking pitch out over the plate. Hewlett lays down the bunt. It's a good one. Going to be a tough play at first. Safe at first. A run scores. Norris thought he had the out. And a well-played and well-executed bunt by Tug Hewlett, the second baseman, who picks up the RBI, his 16th of the season.
You can't do any better than this. He just drug the ball right between the first baseman and the pitcher, and you can see right there Norris trying to get over to cover the bag. Boyd picks it up, but the ball is placed so well, it's in that Bermuda Triangle area out there that nobody can get to, and he got to the bag long before Norris did. Good RBI bunt single that time. His 16th run batted in for Hewlett. Oh, was that pretty?
That was well executed. And Auburn on the board first again today. Runner at third is Scott Shea. Chuck Girolamo, the shortstop, a 279 hitter, 13 RBIs. Just a youngster in this league who has made an impact defensively. And he's had some clutch hits for this Auburn team as well.
Now, that's not surprising to see him lay down a bunt. I mean, this is a guy who has 17 sacrifice bunts this year. And, folks, that's more than 3 teams in the Southeastern Conference.
Runner at third is Scott Shea. Over at first is Tug Hewlett. Norris will throw over to first. Hewlett 4 of 5 in the stolen base department. See Brent Boyd over there at first base. Wasn't until last week that he actually made his first career start at first base. Seems like Brent's been here 21 years. The senior has played every year since he's been a freshman and has played all over the field as well. But due to some injuries that he has had and some other injuries, they felt the best place for him in the last week is over there at first base. So he's learning a brand new position. Fouled off of the plate by Girolamo.
Tell you what happened to him was he had a cartilage tear near his rib cage, which basically kept him out of 4 games, the Kentucky series and the Samford game. And they forced him to really move over to that position where he doesn't have to throw as much. They talked about it being an abdominal injury, but actually it was cartilage tear near his rib cage.
You got to have him on the field.
Oh, yes.
Slow roller to first. Here's Boyd. He's going to let it go foul.
Smart play.
And with only one out, that was definitely a smart play. And Shade will have to go back to third, and we'll do it again. That was a brilliant play by, once again, Larry the senior.
Well, that's what all first basemen do. We first basemen, we think like that, though.
Yeah. Sure you do.
Well, heads-up play by Brent Boyd was almost as good as a bunt if it stayed fair.
With 2 outs, you could probably pick that ball up, go ahead and tag the guy at first, and inning over. But with runner at third and 1 down, wise decision. 0-2 on Girolamo at the plate. 35th pitch coming in this inning. For the game, excuse me, for Jeffrey Norris. How about Lance Cormier last night, throwing 133 pitches.
Most of the year for him.
He's throwing a lot.
Leads the Southeastern Conference in earned run average. Surge.
Line into center field. McClanahan comes on, drops in front of him, so Shea finally gets to touch home plate. And Auburn with a big hit to take a 2-0 lead, and that is the 14th RBI by Girolamo. Chuck was down 0-2 in the count, but hung in there.
You know, Girolamo had a double and an RBI back in that strange 4th inning last night, and he starts off again today very successfully here by just launching one into center field, and he gets the second run home for the Auburn Tigers. Girolamo had 2 hits last night, a single and a double, so he's having a good series so far.
Second RBI of the series as well. We're back to the top of the order. Jonathan Sherholtz, who struck out looking his first time up. Alabama fans, don't worry about your Tide falling behind. They've done it all season long and have found a way to win. They've been down 7-0 and won 9-1 and came back to win. They were down 5-0 last night. This team is a resilient group, and we talk so much about confidence, Larry, and I think after you do that a couple of times, come from behind wins, teams believe.
I'll tell you the other thing that helps too is having good senior leadership, and Jim Wells has that in several positions out there. We've talked about 2 of these guys, both Boyd and Brown, carrying that load, as well as McClanahan.
The 0-1. Check swing, bounces off Brown, stays in front of him, 0-2. And just to back that point up, Larry, 5 of the last 7 have been won in the Alabama-Auburn series, have been won in the 8th inning or later. 4 of the wins coming in the victorious team's last at-bat. That's how close this series is. So don't go anywhere. What I'm saying is stay with us.
That's an exciting game last night. After Auburn had gotten up 5-0, a couple of 2-run homers got him back in the game. One by McClanahan and one by Brent Boyd.
To Sherholtz on the way in the dirt. Runners go. Brown can't do anything with it but get it back to his pitchers, and the runners move up to second and third, so 2 in scoring position now to the leadoff man, Sherholtz.
Probably a wild pitch here. Nice job of keeping the ball out in front of him. Jeremy Brown did, but nothing he could do about it when it went to his right side, and both runners advance, and they're now in scoring position with less than 2 outs.
It's the second wild pitch of the year for Norris. That's it into the stands. Souvenir for somebody.
Tell you one thing I discovered last night sitting here watching this game, and by the way, folks, it was cold. I mean, it was really cold. Is that there are about 3,000 coaches in the stands last night. I mean, this bunch really gets into their baseball team here. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
That's as much entertainment as the game itself.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the comments we'd have to edit, but it was certainly a lot of fun to sit here and listen to it last night.
You know where you stand at all times with Alabama fans. There's no guesswork. In the dirt again. 2-2 to Sherholtz.
As much as I love this park, and I do love the Joe, it's what they refer to it as, Sewell Thomas Stadium, you can't see the bullpens, so we have no idea if anybody's warming up in either one of the bullpens.
Here comes the 27th pitch this inning, and it's hit to short. Pavkovich spins, fires, makes the out at first, but a run crosses the plate. Tug Hewlett makes it a 3-0 game. And out number 2 in the inning.
Adam Pavkovich was with an awfully nice play to get this out. There's a little pirouette right there behind second base, and Nails sure holds going down the line, but he picks up a run batted in, his 14th of the year.
Jeffrey Norris's ERA is skyrocketing. Came in with 1.93 ERA in 37 1/3 innings. Now he's given up 3 runs in an inning and 2/3. Line right back up the middle. Gamble will have a single and an RBI, and it's 4-0 now Auburn.
This is like deja vu all over again. Auburn got off to a quick start last night. They got 5 runs in the 4th. So far here in the 2nd, they've gotten 4 on the board. Trying to get some more.
Norris will make the throw over to Boyd at first.
If they've gotten to Jeffrey Norris this quickly, it's going to be a tough day for him. He may not be long for this afternoon.
Fastball in there for a strike. Moran singled his last time up. To the breaking pitch that just misses. 1-1. Gamble has swiped a couple of bases this year. 2 of 2 in that department.
That put him in motion right here.
It's a ball. Yeah. You know, I was watching Gamble. Boy, he came all the way back to the bag. He was bluffed so badly, but that explains why. And Jim Wells has a question of, or a statement, I should say.
Let's watch again, see if we can spot it. I don't think he ever stopped. I think he just continued on with his motion. You've got to come to a full stop. I think that's what Jim Wells was questioning, and I think he got his answer.
It's the 2nd balk of the season for Norris. Fouled off at the plate.
Oh, wait, well, we've got a moment. We should tell you our umpires. Wayne Halbrook is behind the plate today. A.J. Lastaglio is the man who just called the balk, has moved from 1st to 2nd, and Al Davis is down at 3rd.
There's A.J. and there's Al, who called home plate last night. Ground ball to short. Pavkovich fires. What an arm. But a big, big inning for the Auburn Tigers. They strike for 4 runs here in the top of the 2nd inning to lead their rivals in Tuscaloosa.
One series can save a season.
Iverson with 54 points.
One game can decide a series.
Ray Allen driving past Armstrong. The jam over McGrady.
And one shot can mean the difference between winning and going home.
A spectacular history-making comeback.
Don't miss the 2002 NBA playoffs on TBS and TNT. Coverage continues all month long. Sponsored by Circuit City. If it's April, it's win or go home.
Seriously, man, what's your real name?
It's
It's Trey Winger.
Trey Winger.
The big plays, the best highlights, the most popular athletes, entertaining and informative anchors. See it all on ESPN SportsCenter right here on Comcast.
Move to the bottom of the second inning. Auburn leading Alabama 4-0. 6 hits for the Auburn Tigers. Alabama trying to get their first hit of the game. Larry, we've talked about it a couple times already today. The wackiness of last night's 8-6 Alabama victory in the fourth inning was pretty much what we're talking about. You ended up having Lance Cormier try to get the runner, Huddleston, at home. They go to the catcher, Jeremy Brown. Then they end up getting a runner, Vines, in a rundown. Now watch Boyd run home. Nobody's covering the bag at second base. So who comes in to cover the bag at second base? Your left fielder will come in and make that play. Grant Redding, but Vines ends up being safe. And that's just an example. There were 3 or 4 of those type plays last night.
And it seemed like it was all in that one inning. Everything happened.
And in that fourth inning is when Auburn picked up their 5 runs to take that 5-0 lead. Alabama answered with 2 that inning, but came back to win it 8-6. Boyd fouls it off his foot.
Ooh, that one hurt. You notice the tough guys don't rub. You know this thing? Tough guys do not go down and rub. Look at this. Oh, right off the instep.
He's already wearing a protector down there. Yeah, they may not go down there and rub that injury, but they'll adjust the pad, though.
And why not?
I would. Well, this is the first time Norris has trailed in a game. Alabama's starting pitcher in 23 and 2/3 innings. There's a strike. 0-2 to Boyd, the first baseman. The outfielder's playing pretty deep for Boyd, who had a big home run last night.
He and McClanahan hit a pair of 2-run home runs last night, which got them back in the game. And of course, they got 4 in the bottom of the 7th and then 2 in the bottom of the 8th to win that game 8-6. By the way, how about the Volunteers last night coming back and beating Ole Miss?
That was a big win for Rod Delmonico's club. Ole Miss had been rolling right along.
And as a reminder to those of you who follow Southeastern Conference baseball, we will be in Knoxville next week watching the LSU Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers go at it.
Paxton's 2-2 delivery. Misses badly. Here's some scores that happened yesterday, Friday's game. South Carolina held on. They had a lead, surrendered it, went extra innings and won. Florida beats Georgia 12-6, and there's the Ole Miss score we were referring to. LSU blanks Arkansas 3-zip, and Mississippi State knocks off Vandy 5-2. Fly ball down the right side. Out of play. Vines had a long run. And today, Georgia answers back to Florida. They lead 3-0 in the bottom of the first. Rain delayed in Lexington with South Carolina. Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss getting started about right now, and Mississippi State and Vanderbilt later on tonight.
It's okay to rain this Saturday. It just can't rain next Saturday.
Get it out of your system in Knoxville. Line left center. That'll be a gapper. One hops off the wall. And Boyd in with a stand-up double. And for Brent Boyd, that's his 11th double of the season.
Colby Paxton kind of grooved one right here, and Brent Boyd jumped all over it. Watch him get out in front with his bat. Oh boy, laid it right under his A there, and he just drove it into left center. It's a good thing it was to the deep part of the park out there. Otherwise, it'd have been on top of one of those luxury automobiles out beyond the wall out there.
That's his 7th hit in the last 4 games for Brent Boyd. You see the campers out there. There are plenty of them in the parking lot. Just adjacent to Coleman Coliseum. That leads us to Bo Harrod, the DH. Pass ball upstairs, 1-0.
Kind of looked like a surprised Pratt a little bit, the catcher. I think he was looking for another pitch.
That misses inside. Larry, big news out of Boston today. Derek Lowe lost his job as a closer. They put him on the mound, and what does he do? Throws a no-hitter against the Devil Rays.
That's what you could say taking advantage of an opportunity. I'm not going to stay in the bullpen. I'll go to the mound and throw a no-hitter for you. And it looks like Steve Renfro's going to have to have a conversation with his pitcher right now. He felt like Colby Paxton might have been rushing his delivery a little bit. Going to slow him down a little.
Last night, Alabama left 11 runners on base, 6 of those in scoring position. That's fouled out of play.
I thought what was interesting about that game last night was the fact that, yes, we did have 7 errors last night, but we only had 2 unearned runs, so that the errors really didn't play much of a factor in the runs last night.
And an error in the aisleway. Got to make the plays here, folks, or the players are going to turn around and start chomping at you like you chomp at them. Popped him up. Will it stay in play? Pratt makes the catch. Boyd stays at second base, out number 1.
We need a hit now.
Batting for Alabama from Hackville, the left fielder,
Trent Pratt, who's been great behind the plate this year, Larry, has yet to commit an error. And has caught most of the innings for the Auburn Tigers.
These are 2 of the better catchers, I think, in the Southeastern Conference, Pratt and Brown.
That wild pitch gets past Pratt. The runner moves to third. Boyd stands there with 1 down. A wild pitch for Paxton. That's his 5th wild pitch this year. Chad White making his 7th start of the season. Left fielder today. His 3rd start in SEC games this year for Chad. Is upstairs, so Chad draws a walk, 1st and 3rd. That's the 2nd walk issued by Paxton. Carlos Sosa gets the start at 3rd base today. Carlos making his 24th start this season, hitting .267 overall, but in SEC play, .094. And you see the Alabama fans amongst the American flag, the Alabama flag, the Crimson Tide flag, I should say, is the Mexican national flag in honor of Mr. Sosa. Mr. Sosa is an interesting story, Larry. He grew up in Mexico City, but moved to Miami as a junior in high school so that he could learn to speak English and be fluent in English and Spanish, and then moved back to Mexico City, but did not play any organized baseball until he went to Miami as a junior in high school. So a relative newcomer to the game.
like to hear stories like that. You know, guys really making an effort to improve themselves, and he definitely has done that.
3 for 32 against SEC pitching. Sosa looks at a fastball strike. 1-1 the count. Sosa's father is in charge of, I guess you could say, the amateur sports in Mexico City. Runs all the sports. Oh, a nice pickup back there by Pratt.
Well, they've only got 20 million people in Mexico City, so I guess he's got a lot of sports going on down there.
He'd be the Roy Kramer of Mexico City, if you will.
He would hold jurisdiction over about that same population, about 20 million in the Southeastern Conference.
Ground ball right to Paxton. Could be 2. Geralman's throw to first. Got it. Well, give him a second chance and he'll get it done. Paxton made an error earlier on that same play, but this time he got it right. The 0-1, 6-3 double play, and Alabama couldn't get a run across. Their woes continue. With runners in scoring position, they trail by 4.
Hey, sports fans, the race for the ultimate tailgating grill is on, and the Grill to Go is leaving the competition in the dust. Ordinary charcoal grills take 30 minutes or more to heat up, but the Grill to Go goes from 0 to cooking in record time. Unfold the legs, set the grill on top, attach propane cylinder, slide in shelves, hit the ignition, and you're cooking while old school grills are still in first gear. The high-performance griddle lets you cook pancakes, eggs, and bacon. And the Teflon Classic non-stick surface from DuPont turbocharges cleanup. Just rinse, wipe, and you've got the green light to go. Don't let tailgating season kick off without your Grill to Go. It's light, portable, easy to use. And with its extra-large grilling surface, it's sure to be the MVP of every tailgate party. Call the number on your screen now to order, or look for the Grill to Go at major retailers everywhere.
4-6-1 for the Tigers. 0-1-0 for the Tide in a series that goes all the way back to 1896. They have played 228 ball games, and this is one of those great rivalries. And we talked to some guys that have been a part of this the past few years to get their thoughts on what it means to them.
It's a huge rivalry. I mean, sometimes it blows me away just how much competition there is, and it should be. It makes it a lot of fun, and the fans here are just so outstanding. I mean, they come out and they really support this series like they do every series, but you can tell just being out here on the field that there's a little something different this weekend.
It's a tradition that goes way back, and when I came here, I didn't really know much about it, and then it's a big football rivalry, big baseball rivalry. It's just been a lot of fun to be a part of since I've been here.
And it's great today. It's great to be here this weekend. Had capacity crowds last year in Auburn. This is, heck, I don't know, my 6th or 7th time I've had a chance to do this game, and there's just a lot of excitement around the ballpark. Look at this. 123 and 103. It's 54% winning percentage for Alabama. But Auburn's won 4 of the last 5. Huddleston swings through. A Norris pitch. 1896. What were you doing then, Larry?
I was doing games.
That does not surprise me. Huddleston grounded out his first time up.
Doubleday called me, says, would you do a game for us? I said, sure, I'll do it for you.
That's hit hard to center field. McClanahan, though, right on the spot. Scott McClanahan is a big-time favorite here for Crimson Tide fans, and that's a sign out in right field. 2/3 of the world is covered by water. The other third is covered by Scott McClanahan, who is one of the premier center fielders in college baseball. There's no question about that. He has been a steady performer for Jim Wells for a number of years, and he's going to hate to see that young man go. Fly ball, right field. Travis Garner makes the play, out number 2.
A little bit better start to the inning this time for Jeffrey Norris.
First baseman Scott Shade.
Here's Scott Shade to step in. Scott doubled his last time, came in to score the second run of the inning. Fastball in there for a strike to Shade. Wind blowing in today, so we won't see many bombs. Not a huge park, but yet you need to really get it. You're not going to get any freebies here at Sewell Thomas.
I was talking to Steve Renfro before the game today, and I was asking him about how the ball carries in this park. The dimensions are a little bit shorter here than they are in most of Southeastern Conference venues. And he says, you know, not only is it short, but also the wind kind of carries the ball a little bit better here.
We'll carry it in the park today. The winds have blowing right at us today. Generally speaking, the wind's out here, and we've had some strange weather take place over the last 36 hours here in Tuscaloosa. Ground ball. Pavkovich. What a great arm. First 3 up, 3 down for Bama today. And the Crimson Tide are due up in their half of the third. Stay with us here on our SEC Game of the Week.
The life of a Southeastern Conference student athlete can be a long, hard road with plenty of ups and downs along the way. We at Greyhound are proud to sponsor the SEC. And now with our support of the youth sports clinics, we hope to make the road easier from the beginning. Greyhound salutes the SEC student athletes, and we wish them well on their road to a championship. Greyhound and the SEC, together we're on the move.
Let me win.
Let me win.
Let me win.
Let me win.
But if I cannot 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 win.
Let me be brave.
Let me be brave. Let me be brave.
Let me be brave in the attempt.
The Special Olympics.
The Southeastern Conference.
Training for life.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Granny's Motorsports.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Action Fun Sports.
Finest leather boots are at Big Phil's Boots.
Of all the online shopping websites, one stands out as the destination for SEC fans, SECstore.com. Inside, you can visit over 20 different product departments, offering over 100 items per school. And there's no better place to get official, cool SEC logo merchandise. And when the clock winds down at championship time, official victory caps and tees go on sale instantly. It's the ultimate shopping experience for all SEC fans, SECstore.com.
Number 7 Alabama trailing Auburn 4-1. Auburn with a lone error so far in the game. You can see a good shot of the Joel Sewell Thomas Stadium here this afternoon for our Southeastern Conference baseball game of the week. We've got other games going on around the conference this weekend. Everybody marching toward that eventual date in Hoover, Alabama, where everyone will converge for the Southeastern Conference baseball tournament, won by Mississippi State last year.
Great tournament last year.
Indeed.
It was people with Alabama there. People were concerned about attendance, but it turned out to be a great week of baseball. And it just shows the strength of the league overall, I think, Larry.
And Jeffrey Norris still on the mound. Looks like one go right back up the middle. It's the first hit since the second inning when he gave up 4 runs. Jonathan Shearholtz starts it off with a single to straightaway center field. I'll bring up Sean Gamble, the left fielder. Struck out back in the first, had an RBI single in the second.
Sean Gamble.
Shearholtz always a threat to run. 16 for 16 in stolen base chances this year. Jeffrey Norris well aware of that. Will hold him close. Norris had set down 6 in a row prior to that. Make that 7 in a row prior to that base hit by Shearholtz.
He has 5 strikeouts today.
Another aspect of college baseball, much like Major League Baseball, is the fact that teams really do a good job of scouting now. You have the opportunity to see teams play on television. You also have the chance to see them play when they're in conference play. Another bunt. Good pickup by the first baseman. Is he going to get him? Not in time. Boy, Brent Boyd kind of fumbled that a little bit, and that gave every chance for Sean Gamble to get down that line.
How about the speed from Gamble to get down the first baseline? He's like a bullet, and Boyd could not afford the bobble. Anybody else, perhaps, but not Gamble.
I got to tell you, Dave, that bunt was like a bullet, too. I mean, he bunted that ball very hard to Boyd and was still able to beat the toss.
Of course, Sean Gamble, the son of former Major Leaguer Oscar Gamble.
Runners at first and second now. They will give Boyd an error on that play. So Auburn threatening again. Runners at first and second now, and nobody out. Chance for Moran to do something. He has a single. 1 for 2 today. Moran having such a good year. He's also one of the toughest guys in the league to strike out. He's only fanned 15 times in 191. And there's a throw down to second, and the runner's not going to go anywhere. Shearholtz could not get off of the bag. It didn't roll far enough away. Moran has only fanned 15 times in 191 at bats. So you know he's going to put the ball in play, and I've got a feeling Steve Renfro probably wants him to lay it down right now to put these 2 guys in scoring position. For Sosa, the decision at third base, stay back or come forward. If he comes forward, it leaves third base wide open. Oh and 1.
Check swing. Did he go? No, says our first base umpire.
Took a while for him to make his mind up to ask. So we're still 1 and 1. First baseman creeping in. Boyd coming in. He's expecting the bunt. Do they have the wheel play on? They've got the shortstop out behind second base. You can see Jeremy Brown wandering out in front of the plate, giving signals to his infield. Simply to let everybody know where they're supposed to be, what bag to cover. You know, Boyd's going to be charging. The question is whether Norris will cover the third base line or whether Sosa will come in. The way they've got the shortstop position right now, Pavkovich, as close as he is to second, I got to believe Norris is going to take that third base line. Moran waits for the pitch. Base hit, right field. That's going to load him up. Boy, nice piece of hitting that time. Javon Moran just drilled one into right field, and now Auburn's got the bases loaded and nobody out.
the designated hitter, Bobby Huddleston.
Well, you mentioned, Larry, about him being able to make contacts. Only has struck out 15 times and over 190 at-bats today, and that's why they're so high on Javon Moran. And with these aluminum bats, you don't really have to swing. Just get it out there.
Just a little bit of a tap. Get the bat out in front.
Come on, y'all, come alive out there.
Well, Jared Woodward is warming up for the Crimson Tide down the bullpen. Looks like he's going to be coming on, too. So Jim Wells has seen enough. It's going to be all for Jeffrey Norris today as he's going to leave the bases loaded. And Jared Woodward will come on. Tough day for Jeffrey Norris. Left-hander struggled through that second inning. He had a good third and a good fourth, but has run into trouble here in the fifth, and he'll leave the game. Turn the ball over to Woodward, and he'll get a hand from the Alabama crowd. Let's take a break, and we'll tell you all about Woodward when we come back.
Jared Woodward. Woodward now pitching to the Crimson.
Current plan not working out?
What?
Alltel has one that will. Get into the game with an Alltel Total Freedom Plan and get nationwide calling starting at $39.95 a month. There's no roaming or long-distance charges across the U.S. Plus, you'll score a great deal on a digital phone. Alltel. Are you connected?
Thousands of parts, great prices. Discount Auto Parts.
Right now, buy Castrol GTX motor oil for just $1.38 per quart. Discount Auto Parts.
Auburn leads Alabama 4-1. We're in the top of the fifth. Nobody out, and the bases are loaded. And Alabama just made a pitching change, and they bring in Jared Woodward, the right-hander, 6'1", 195, a sophomore out of Northport, Alabama. Jared this year with a 4.53 RA. He is 4-1 overall, making his 16th appearance. He's been a starter in 7 different occasions this year. Opponents hit 296 off of him, and he comes in a real jam with the bases loaded, nobody out, and he's got a tough batter to face in Bobby Huddleston.
One of the best hitters on this Auburn squad. Alabama will play the shortstop and second baseman back, wanting the double play. First pitch is up and inside for a ball, 1-0. Huddleston today 0 for 2. A good night last night, 2 for 5, a couple of runs batted in. He's on a 5-game hitting streak, would love to extend it right here. Looks at the pitch down low in the dirt. 2-0. So Jared Woodward right now looking at a hitter who came into this game hitting .387. And he has fallen behind 2-0, and the bases are loaded. Alabama with their outfielders deep. Huddleston waits. Up and in, 3-0. Woodward frustrated with himself. Question is now, will they turn Huddleston loose? Stretching the look, and the pitch. Down the heart of the plate, 3-1.
Woodward has done a nice job when he's coming in relief. He's only allowed 3 of the 9 inherited batters he's faced to score.
Come on, Jared. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, Jeremy.
Got it turning loose here. Breaking pitch. High. Out of the strike zone, and Huddleston chased it. Look at him smile. Oh, does he want that pitch back? You dream about getting that kind of pitch. A hanging curve ball, and now the count is full, and he fouled it back.
He's probably telling Brown, throw that one more time.
Payoff. Pops it up. Yeah, they didn't call the infield fly rule, so it's fly out to shortstop, and it's the first out here in the 5th inning. That is a big out. So Woodward, who had fallen behind 3-0, comes back and gets Bobby Huddleston.
And you just know Huddleston is fuming in that dugout when he saw that pitch that you dream about, and he couldn't do much with it. And then he's still smirking.
Look at him, look to the heavens. He says, oh, please, I'd love to have that one. That'll bring up Trent Pratt, the catcher. Single and run scored, 1 for 2 today. Still the bases loaded. Breaking ball, outside, ball 1. That one had a little bit more bite to it than the one that came up there to Huddleston. Pratt leads his club in home runs with 7. He's got 38 runs batted in. That also leads this Auburn team. Breaking ball again in the dirt, 2-0.
Boy, Jeremy Brown is getting a workout today behind the plate. But much like he told Coach Wells when he was a freshman, put me at first base, I promise you I will stop it. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to catch it, but I will guarantee you I will put my body in front of it and stop it. Well, that's what he's doing behind the plate now.
Woodward in his 9th relief appearance of the year. Trying to close down this Auburn team right here and keep them right where they are, which is leading 4-1. Scott Shade on deck, awaiting his turn. Outside, ball 3. So for the second time this inning, he falls behind a hitter 3-0. He came back and got Huddleston to pop up to the shortstop, and now he's down 3-0 to Trent Pratt. Shearholtz down at 3rd. Gamble down at 2nd. And Moran over at 1st. There's a strike, 3-1. Same sequence of events so far to Pratt that he did with Huddleston. Does he come back with that breaking ball on this 3-1 pitch? Fastball outside, he walked in the run. Give Pratt his 39th run batted in of the year, and the bases remain loaded.
And Jim Wells comes out of the dugout, and that will do it for Jared Woodward.
Well, Shearholtz comes home with the run. And Auburn picks up another one. Jim Wells did not hesitate. I think he saw that Woodward didn't have it today after he had fallen behind 3-0 to Huddleston, 3-0 to Pratt. He got Huddleston, but he couldn't get Pratt. So we'll have a pitcher's change, and the new guy coming in is Brian Reed, who's really their outstanding reliever. Already with 8 saves this year. They're not going to wait any longer. Jim Wells is trying to shut this one down, Dave. So that'll be all for Woodward. And the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon will be Brian Reed. We'll tell you all about him when we come back.
Cooper Tire is proud to be the official tire of the Southeastern Conference. Cooper Tires. Drive on.
Hey, you know what? What? You gotta eat.
Well, it's in your eyes. Ain't no surprise. You got a thing for checkers. Check it out. You gotta eat. Ain't nothing like this place. You gotta eat. Ain't nothing like this taste. You gotta eat. You gotta eat.
You've got to try Checkers' new Kahlua Shakes. One of our nothing like 'em, gotta have 'em, way too thick for a straw shakes. Kahlua Shakes, right now at Checkers.
You gotta eat.
Alabama goes to the bullpen for the 2nd time today. Brian Reed now takes over, the 6'1", 205-pound junior out of Armory, Mississippi. A JC transfer, 21 games, 2-0 record, and a team best 1.44 ERA. He's got those team high 8 saves as well. Reed is a guy that has struck out 31 batters, walked just 5. Opponents hit only .235 against him. And he faces Larry another jam with the bases loaded, 1 down.
And a pretty good hitter in Scott Shade, the first baseman, who's 1 for 2 today, a double back in the second. Reed throws the first one for a strike. You know, that's all Jim Wells is looking for right now. He just wants strikes from the guys out of the bullpen. Woodward couldn't do that. Reed delivered the first pitch in there for 1. 0-1. Breaking pitch. Boy, he took a little bit off of that one. Nicely done. 0-2. Shade kind of fanned at that one.
Reed ranks among the SEC leaders in relief appearances, first with 21. Games finished, he's first with 18.
And he got Shade. 3 straight pitches.
Well, Jim Wells, Larry, you said wants somebody to come in here and throw strikes. Well, how about 3 straight?
Well, he threw the fastball for a strike and then 2 off-speed breaking pitches that Shade chased. At least on the second one, and looked at the third one, and now that'll bring up Doug Vines, the right fielder.
And this will be something if Alabama can get out of this jam with only 1 run scoring. That'll be a minor victory for Alabama.
There's a foul ball hit to the right side. Vines a strikeout victim twice today. Had a good night last night. Had a couple of hits and a run batted in. In fact, he hit his first career home run last Sunday against Mississippi State.
It looks like got a little moisture coming down the way the crowd's scurrying about.
Well, I thought they were all coming up here to see us.
That's why we have security guards, Larry.
Vines 0-1 pitch. Bases loaded. Just a bit outside. 1-1. And about 1/3 of those coaches I talked about earlier in this game complained vociferously about that call. Vines trying to deliver a base hit to extend Auburn's lead. Inside corner for a strike, 1-2. Vines backed away as if the ball was going to clip him on the knee, and it kind of moved back in over the inside part of the plate. A little late movement on that fastball out there by Brian Reed. In the dirt, 2-2. Well, Jeremy Brown doing a nice job again behind the plate, keeping that ball out in front of him. Ball hit toward first. Boyd comes up with it. The toss. Got him. Hal Reed came in and did his job. 1 run, only 2 hits. And the bases are left loaded on the outstanding relief job by Brian Reed. He comes in and gets 2 big outs.
I am Ruth Riley. My life revolves around sports. I love to watch sports, to play sports. My favorite movie is Hoosiers. Not a tough choice. The best movie ever made. My mom means everything to me, and my family's been so supportive of me along the way. I do try to answer all my fan mail. If people take the time to write to me, that's the least I can do is take the time to write them back.
For Miami Soul tickets, call 786-777-4SOL or log on to miamisoul.com.
Now, it's Florida's one and only regional sports newscast, and it's coming at you exclusively on Sunshine Network, the Inside Angle.
I really like it. I like us going into the playoffs, even the way we're playing.
34 wins in a row. It's almost unapproachable.
Every team from across the state. Your regional news is Nextel Florida Sports News. Weeknights at 10, only on Sunshine Network.
Alabama trails by 4. 5-1 is our score. He moved to the bottom of the 5th inning. And Larry, we have been fortunate to see, been doing these games long enough now to see guys make that jump from college baseball to the major league level. And the SEC is just loaded with talent. And we've had a chance to see some of these guys that are currently on major league teams. There are a total of 5 between these two clubs. And for Auburn, Well, Frank Thomas back in the late 80s put on a hitting clinic for the Auburn Tigers. Scott Sullivan, the sidewinder, pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds. Mark Bellhorn played for the Auburn Tigers from 93 to 95. And then Tim Hudson now with the Oakland Athletics. Of course, he is one of the premier pitchers in the American League. Frank Menachino, member of the Crimson Tide team back in the mid-90s. And how about Dustin Moore? It did not take Dustin very long to make his presence felt at major league level. All told, last year there were 5 players from the SEC chosen in the first round of the Major League Draft.
Doesn't surprise me at all. For all the years that we've been watching Southeastern Conference baseball, you see these guys filter right on up to Major League Baseball.
I'll give you a list of those 5 guys after the pitch.
There's a ball outside. Take it away.
Chris Burke, chosen 10th overall by Houston. Auburn's Gabe Gross was chosen 15th by Toronto. LSU's Mike Fontenot was taken 19th by Baltimore. Wyatt Allen, Tennessee, was chosen 39th by the White Sox. And Todd Linden of LSU was chosen by San Francisco.
Travis Gardner at the plate with a 2-0 count. Paxton delivers. There's a ground ball into left field. That could be 2. Hustling over is Gamble. Making the turn and heading for second is Gardner, and he'll go in standing up. So a good start to the 5th for the Alabama Crimson Tide as Gardner doubles down the left field line.
Well, Travis Gardner is a guy that has been good when he plays. And here he just ropes it down the left field line. Travis got pretty good speed, gets down to second, and Alabama needs something to get going. Now, they've struggled with some runners in scoring position. Now they have a chance to do it.
And Scott McClanahan, the leadoff hitter who has scored the only run for Alabama today, had a single back in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 2. And the lead down at second by Gardner. A little inside, 1-0. I spoke earlier about McClanahan, and here's the family over there. We just visited with Mark McClanahan, and there's his wife Amanda to Mark's right. Paxton with a nice pickup, and there's the out. By the way, that was Scott McClanahan's wife, Amanda. They got married in January. 1 down.
Probably still, in his eyes, still the girlfriend that he married. You know,
sure. You know, for Mark, Father Mark right there, he's going to be very pleased, and he was, as we talked about his son up here.
Come on, base hitting, son. Base hitting. Come on, Adam, you're due, boy.
Yeah, so he's telling everybody about the interview.
You know
That's
what
exactly
he's saying, Larry. He's going, those 2 bozos up there. Jeez. To see what those guys are drinking.
There's a fly ball to left field. Gamble settles under it, and he's got it. It's the 2nd out. So Gardner doubles, and McClanahan hits back to the pitcher, and Pavkovich flies to left.
Hit it on the ground.
Yeah, he's down there telling everybody about what a professional job those 2 guys up in the booth do.
We can only hope.
So they have to be probing, deep questions. Bring up the second baseman, Peter Stoner.
As he said, Scott's going to graduate on time in May, as he slapped his backside, indicating that his wallet will greatly appreciate that.
The fly ball is going to twist into the crowd down the left field line. 0-1. We talked earlier about the fact that Brent Boyd had moved over to first base, and one of the reasons that Peter Stoner had moved into second base was the fact that Boyd had to move over there. And this all occurred about the middle of this month. In fact, he's played the last 9 games down there. Fouls one back to the left side.
And he'll probably go back to the outfield depending on what Jim Wells is able to recruit. But he's played solid. I think Jim Wells will probably keep him at second base the remainder of the season. He's played so well over there.
Yeah. Stoner out of Clayton, Missouri, a sophomore. Had a good freshman year last year. Hit .320, drove in 32 runs. Led all the Alabama outfielders with 6 assists. He's off to a pretty good career. Stoner hitting left-handed. Sophomore down 0-2. There goes the runner. That's going to be a stolen base. Good hustle down. Now Garner got a good jump.
Well, that's his 10th stolen base this year. And picked the perfect pitch to do it.
Tough pitch back there for Pratt to handle. It was actually up high, and he couldn't get in position to even make the throw. Peter Stoner 1 for 2 today. An RBI single back in the third. He looks at a pitch outside. 2-2. Paxton with a quick look at third base. Fastball, foul to the right side. I was looking up some numbers on some of these players coming out of high school. It always intrigues me when I look at these absolutely gaudy numbers. I think Stoner's numbers were the greatest. In high school, he hit .608. He had 10 home runs and 55 runs batted in what is a very shortened high school season. Foul back, still 2-2. How do you hit .608?
That's dominating your opposition, is what that is.
Good-looking hitter, a guy that they can utilize in utility positions. Plays outfield and plays infield. There's a breaking pitch into left center field. Hustling over his Gamble, and he's got it. So the double went for naught. Travis Gardner got on to lead off the inning with the double, and he had stolen third, but they couldn't get him home. 3 straight outs after that, and Auburn continues to lead 5-1.
In 1971, we started with a small wood preserving plant. It's hard to believe. But our #1 goal has always been to be the best. My daddy always said, if you're ripe, you're rotten. If you're green, you're still growing. Great Southern wood, still growing after 30 years.
Lobster Fest is here, and for a limited time, you can get a mouth-watering plate of Maine lobster tail and succulent shrimp, all for just $12.99. So come in now for Lobster Fest and go overboard.
Now what you're looking at are some of the Alabama fans doing the chicken dance, and now they're waving us off, saying we don't want any coverage on this. You know, one of the things that I have noticed about this Auburn baseball team is they are very young. They have a group of freshmen out there that played very, very well for them, and this is one of them right here coming up to the plate. Doug Hewlett. How about the growing pains? Girolamo, Hewlett, and Gamble in the first 9 games of conference play. Look what they were hitting. Look what they've been able to accomplish in the last 10. Now that is progress. All 3 guys, particularly Hewlett, picking up a terrific offensive performance, going from 200 to 410. That is progress. That's what you like to see, and I know Steve Renfro is pleased to see that from his 3 freshmen. Hewlett kind of slaps one down to short. Pavkovich comes up, guns him down.
Boy, Pavkovich, former third baseman a year ago, sophomore at short, but he has got one of the strongest arms I've seen this year. We've got 2 guys out there at short today that have great arms. And he's thrown a strike every time he's made a put out, too.
Well, this brings up the other shortstop right now, Chuck Girolamo. This freshman had a single, an RBI back in the second. He looks at the first pitch for a strike. He's 1 for 2 today. He has struggled a little bit striking out. He has struck out 28 times this year. And it looks like he has another base hit as the ball scoots into left field. So he's 2 for 3 today. Girolamo with another good afternoon.
Well, we saw the graphic last 10 games hitting over 300 and continues to get better and better each time he sees SEC pitching.
Well, he had 2 hits last night. He has 2 today. Combine that with pretty good leather down at shortstop, and you've got a player that you're happy to have around, you hope, for 4 years. We'll move back to the top of the order. Jonathan Shearholtz 1 for 3 today. Had a single back in the 5th and scored. Pitch outside. Shearholtz 0 for 4 last night. 1 for 3 today, so he is 1 for 7 in the series so far. Leader over at first, or leading Geralman off of the base, and Reed throws a strike. Shearholtz looking for a signal. Looking down to Steve Renfro, his coach. Geralman with a pretty short lead at first. Reed delivers a breaking ball just off the plate. One thing about Reed, most of the time he's around that plate.
The numbers bear it. 31 strikeouts, just 5 walks.
Oof. Ground ball hit high up over the third baseman's head. Sosa comes up with a throw, not in time. Shearholtz with his second hit. An infield single. Sosa had to wait for that one to come down. By the time he got it, not in time to get the fleet Shearholtz going down the line.
That's just a tough break for Alabama. Just a high chopper. Sosa with a good arm made a nice throw, but Shearholtz has good speed down there, getting down to first baseline. And Auburn's got another opportunity. Auburn's had plenty of opportunities there. Last inning, bases loaded, nobody out. Only 1 run came in to score.
Well, another chance now. They've got runners at first and second, and the number 2 hitter, Sean Gamble, up. RBI single back in the second, 1 for 3. Reed delivers down low for a ball. And that's the third freshman at the plate that we talked about earlier in this inning. Hewlett, Geralman, and Gamble, all 3 outstanding freshmen. There's a ground ball to short. Pavkovich to second, to first, the double play. Nicely turned, the 36th double play of the year for Alabama. They got Reed out of another problem. No runs on 2 hits. Nice pitch of relief pitching by Brian Reed. The double play gets him out of it. And we'll move on to the bottom of the 6th. Auburn continues to lead 5-1.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Action Fun Sports.
Sometimes the hardest thing to do at Sonny's is making up your mind.
Barbecue ribs. I've got a craving for ribs. Or is today a sliced pork day? Sounds good. Maybe the chicken, Sonny's barbecue chicken. But barbecue beef would hit this spot.
Sounds like you're ready for Sonny's Super Combo. Beef, pork, chicken, and ribs piled high with all the fixings.
Sonny's Super Combo. Now that's a super idea.
Come on home to Sonny's. Mm-hmm.
Well, they call this guy a super fan. I hope he has a hard head. He's kind of taking the temperature of the air, trying to get this crowd fired up. They are Alabama Crimson Tide. They're down right now, 5-1. Here's the senior member of the super fans. Let's move to the bottom of the 6th. Jeremy Brown will lead it off, followed by Brent Boyd and then Bo Herron. Brown hit into a 5-4-3 double play back in the first, walked in the third for the 40th time this year. He leads this Alabama team. Paxton delivers a pitch outside. Kobe Paxton's done a pretty good job today. He has limited Alabama to 5 hits and only 1 run. That 1 run came back in the 3rd inning. There's a ball hit up to the left side. Third baseman Shearholtz going over, runs out of room.
But I want to go back to the double play that ended the inning last time. You see a sophomore making the throw to second, but you're looking at a converted outfielder making that turn to get the double play and a speedy gamble at first base. Now, Stoner obviously came from the outfield due to some injuries to play some second base, but he came in listed as one of the top high school players as an infielder, so his natural position is out there at second base, but nonetheless, it's been a while, and I just thought that that was a great play by Stoner to make that turn 2 out there on a great runner gamble.
It was a magnificent turn.
Tip my cat to Peter.
Okay, good. Paxton delivers outside corner. All right, we are in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Sewell Thomas Stadium, the Joe, for our SEC College Baseball Game of the Week. I'm Larry Conley with Dave Neal. We are in the bottom of the 6th, and right now Auburn leads Alabama 5-1. Glad you could join us and hope you stay with us. This is always an intriguing matchup. Last night, Auburn got up 5-0, and Alabama stormed back to win the first game of this 3-game set, 8-6. Paxton delivers the full count pitch. It's outside, and Jeremy Brown trots down to first base, and a good start for the Crimson Tide here in the 6th. Fourth walk of the afternoon for Colby Paxton.
2 of those to Jeremy Brown, who continues to pace the SEC in walks.
This is 41st of the year. That'll bring up Brent Boyd. He had a double back in the 2nd inning. He was left stranded at third base. He got involved in an unusual play back in the 3rd. He was called out on an interference play at second base, which ended up being the tail end of a double play as he fouls one off at the plate.
Colby Paxton on the mound is now thrown 81 pitches, and we talked to Steve Renfro about that. A lot of guys we start to see throwing 125, 130 pitches a night. His guys don't normally throw that. It's not that he doesn't want them to. As a matter of fact, he wouldn't mind some of his guys throwing 115, 20 pitches if they could be successful doing it, but his guys just seem to kind of fade out in the 7th, 8th inning, and he has to go get them. So when an Auburn pitcher gets to 100, that's news.
Here's a fly ball hit to straightaway center field. Moran gets underneath of it. He camps there and makes the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. But you know, Dave, I'll tell you, one of the things in talking to Steve Renfro, I think he has a good outlook on taking care of pitchers. He talked about the fact that in visiting with his guys as the season has gone along, you know, he doesn't like for his guys to throw 8 or 9 innings to go that far in February and March. And he kind of works them up to that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning as the season goes along. And I found that very interesting because he spends a lot of time working with his pitchers. One away, Bo Harrod stands in. That's the first pitch inside from Paxton.
Yeah, he went on to kind of say he's not concerned about a pitch count at this point, at this part of the season. In March, February, March, yeah, he keeps a close eye on it. But now if a guy's throwing good, he'll let him go out there 125, 130 pitches. He just hadn't had a guy go do it.
Sometimes you've got to look at the abilities of the guys you've got, too. Some pitchers are not capable of going 9 innings. You know, they can go 6, they can go 7, and you've got to depend on your bullpen to come in there and give you some aid. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's a strike, 1-2.
Well, David Perno at Georgia has that dilemma. He has a good guy named Brandon Moorhead, a good pitcher, but Brandon is great for 5 innings, but it seems like when he gets to the 6th, it all shuts down.
Oh, Bo, he don't know what he's doing back there.
I'm not too sure that's not true throughout college baseball, though. Very seldom do you find a guy like a Cormier who can go those 9 innings. There's a ground ball hit to third, could be 2. Shearholtz throws it over to second. There's the 1. Safe at first. Not quite quick enough on the turn down there. Hewlett tried to get it over there, but not in time.
Shearholtz has already started 1 double play from his third base position, but Hewlett couldn't get the runner down that bag. Harrod will stand at first now with 2 down in the inning.
That'll bring up Chad White, the left fielder. White got the start today, young man out of Prattville, Alabama, sophomore. Outside corner for a strike. Paxton still has a little zip on that fastball out there. He's getting it up and getting it in there. We told you about his early departure in that Mississippi State game last weekend, where he went only 2 1/3. But the weekend before that against Ole Miss went 9 strong innings. There's a ground ball back up the middle and into center field for a base hit. And turning is Harrod going to third. Here comes the throw. Not in time. So Alabama will have runners at the corners as Chad White delivers a ground ball single, a seeing eye single right over the bag at second base.
Great hustle from Harrod, but Chad White started it with the single right back. A high chopper that splits the middle infield. Hewlett and Girolamo in, but Harrod coming around second. He didn't even hesitate. He knew he was going to make a play and got himself 90 feet away from home plate. And Alabama can use every run they can at this point. 5-1. As we mentioned earlier, this Alabama team has had a knack coming back this season. This has been a team that has been very resilient. It doesn't matter if it's the 7th, 8th, or 9th. They seem to find a way.
We're going to have Carlos Sosa. Third baseman looks at the pitch for a strike.
As a matter of fact, last night, Larry, I believe Auburn had won 34 straight games when they led in the 6th inning. And last night, Alabama stopped that streak.
Paxton with an 0-1 count. Fastball in the dirt. Nice pickup by Pratt. Well, how many times have we said that today? Nice play by Pratt. Nice play by Brown. Both of these guys excellent catchers. Alabama 36-7 for the year, 14-5, and that is the best record in the Southeastern Conference. Auburn right now at 27-16, 9-10 in the SEC. Paxton delivers outside, 2-1.
Last night for Auburn, Stephen Register and Mike Miller each pitched, and we asked Steve Renfro if they could go again, and he said absolutely. You know, Stephen Register said his arm felt great, so we could see those same two characters again today.
There's a pitch right off the plate. Did he go? Yes, he did go.
Let's take a look at it. You be the judge. A.J. Lastaglio down there at first base got it right, folks.
2-2. So Sosa trying to deliver a base hit here to keep this inning alive. Paxton trying to get out of it. Ground ball hit between third and short. Into left field and a base hit and an RBI for Carlos Sosa. That makes the score 5-2. Nice job of hitting by Sosa. A big 2-out hit.
And how important was the hustle from Bo Harrod just moments ago to get from first to third on a single up the middle. This time Sosa just hit it right through the hole between short and third, and Sosa picks up his 15th RBI of the season. And we got ourselves a 3-run ball game.
It'll bring up Travis Gardner, the right fielder. He had a double back in the 5th inning, was left stranded at third base. After he had led off the inning, McClanahan, Pavkovich, and Stonard could not get him in. So Paxton trying to shut it down right here. Gardner bunts it foul. I'll tell you what, he had Shearholz playing pretty deep back there too. That might have worked if he could have gotten it fair. Paxton with another good outing today. Nice ball up high. Gardner, one of those guys that you like to have because he's a good utility outfielder. He's played 38 games this year, and he's played both right field and left field. Came into this game hitting a little over 400 in the SEC play. Paxton delivers. There's a ball hit foul into the stands down the left side and beyond the stands.
Get a good look at the crowd here. Over 6,000 on hand today. bullpen, which we cannot see from this angle, which is right behind those stands. The Auburn bullpen is empty at this point. So this is Colby Paxton's job. Actually, yeah, Spigner's throwing for tomorrow. He's Sunday starter for this Auburn team. So it's a quiet pen. It's Colby Paxton's at this point.
They're going to put it on his back. He's got a 1-2 count right now. He throws to Garner, who hits it fair down the third base line. That's going to get 1 run home. Runner turns at third, and he's going to have a stand-up double. And Alabama has closed it to 5-3, and they've got 2 runners in scoring position. Boy, Garner with his second double in as many innings.
Well, the bottom of the lineup has done it. The last 3 guys have 7, 8, 9 hitters have singled and doubled here by Garner. Garner doubled his last time up and stole a base, and this time gets another run across the board, and it's 5-3. Here comes Steve Renfroe. And I will be shocked if he goes to Lavelle Spigner, who is getting loose in that bullpen. But he's looking that way.
Now, Paxton seems to have lost it. The last couple of hitters, he delivered up an easy one to Sosa and also to Gardner that time.
And Larry, they got Corey Dewitt now up, through quickly, and he will come on to the mound. Dewitt just had to hustle up and get loose.
And that'll be the afternoon for Colby Paxton. He pitched into the 6th inning. Gave up these 2 runs after he'd gotten the first 2 guys out and didn't have any runs scored. Well, didn't work. Paxton will go out. We'll have a new pitcher, and we'll tell you all about him when we come back.
Every Sunday before they start their engines, it's NASCAR This Morning.
Fasten your seatbelts. Look at him go. Doesn't get any better than this.
It's the show that takes you inside the world of NASCAR for all the breaking stories on or off the track.
That is absolutely outstanding. It's almost frightening.
Don't miss the best pre-race party this side of Talladega.
It's absolutely wild.
NASCAR This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
The last word with Jim Rome.
Oh no, here we go again. Electrifying, gravity-defying, mesmerizing.
We interrupt this program to bring you a whole new way to think about sports.
Oh wait, there's more. Things are heating up. A lot of smack, a lot of controversy.
Here we go.
Welcome to the jungle. I am all over this. I am all over that.
The last word, reinventing sports talk as you know it. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
Well, Colby Paxton couldn't get it to the 7th. He goes 5 1/3 and gives up 3 runs on 8 hits and gives way now to his man out of the bullpen, Corey Dewitt, the sophomore, the 193-pounder who stands 6 feet tall out of Hoover, Alabama, who is making his 20th appearance. He has a 3-0 record with a 4.73 ERA. Corey has struck out 29 in those 32 innings of work. Opponents hit .276 against him. He's given up 4 home runs and 14 doubles. And now it's his job to slow down Alabama with 2 on in scoring position and facing a very, very tough out, Larry.
Yeah, the top of the order, Scott McClanahan will be the 7th hitter in this 6th inning. He's got runners at 2nd and 3rd. Auburn leads 5-3. McClanahan looking to get those 2 runners home. Dewitt delivers. Breaking pitch outside for a ball.
McClanahan hitting .417 with runners in scoring position and 34 RBIs this year. He's 20 of 48.
There's a foul back, 1-1. He went after McClanahan on that particular pitch. I thought he might try to pitch around him to get Pavkovich up there. Tell you what's kind of like pick your poison. Both of these guys have been hitting the ball well. Pavkovich waits on deck, hoping he gets a turn. Breaking ball down and away, 2-1. Dewitt also pitched in that weekend series against Mississippi State last weekend and not have a very good outing. He went 1 inning, even though they won the game 19-7. He gave up 3 runs and 2 hits in that 1 inning. His touch up pretty good, but Auburn scored a bunch of runs, 19 in fact. And there's a ball outside. 3-1.
I'll be shocked if they give McClanahan anything to hit right here.
This may be that old intentional walk coming up. McClanahan waits, breaking ball, down low, ball 4. He didn't work very hard to try to get McClanahan out of there. Now Dewitt will go after Pavkovich. He is 1 for 2 today, a single back in the 3rd.
The shortstop, Adam Pavkovich.
Turning point of the game right here, Dave. I think for this Auburn club, they need to shut Alabama down here. If Alabama comes back and ties this game up or goes ahead, it could really have an effect on this Auburn baseball team because it happened to them last night. Dewitt trying to end it right here. There's a strike. Dewitt a real workhorse. His 20th appearance of the year. Actually started the season out with a couple of starts, and he's come out of the pen since then. 0-1. Strike 2, breaking ball, beauty. So he's ahead in the count.
Hey, that back glued to your shoulder.
Pavkovich with that base hit back in the 3rd has extended his hitting streak to 10 games. He would love to have one right here. Dewitt delivers a breaking ball and a nice stop again by Pratt. One and 2.
There is so much pressure on the catcher in this situation.
Come on, Adam.
Bases are jammed. Dewitt delivers. Fouled at the plate. He just barely got a piece of that one. Dewitt a pretty good strikeout pitcher. We talked about his walk to strikeout ratio. It's almost 4-1. This is a guy that will stay around the plate.
Come on, Adam. Base hit him tight. Come on.
He's given up 4 home runs this year. And Pavkovich has delivered 5 dingers. 1-2 count. Fouled again at the plate. He is just staying alive. 2 fastballs that he has fought off, both of them on the inside part of the plate. Crimson Tide trying to extend this inning, keep it going, down 5-3. But they trailed 5-0 last night and came back. Dewitt with a breaking pitch, and he fought a breaking pitch off that time. Boy, good at bat here for Pavkovich. He has been terrific at the plate. Making Dewitt really work. Here are your runners. Again, the bases are loaded. Sosa down at 3rd, Garner at 2nd, McClanahan down at 1st. Fouled again. This one into the Auburn dugout.
Here comes the white towel. 8th pitch coming up right now to Pavkovich.
Good battle out here between these two guys. Corey Dewitt, who I would say is probably their best reliever in the bullpen, going up against the number 2 hitter in the lineup, Pavkovich, the shortstop. It's a test of wills right here. Who's going to get the better of it? Breaking ball outside, and we go 2-2. Breaking ball away, full count. You know what that enables the Alabama runners to do is to get a head start. Actually takes away the force play if you've got one hit deep in the hole. Full count, 2 down. Turn the merry-go-round on. Puck foul back. Oh, what an at-bat for Pavkovich. He has been terrific.
11th pitch coming up. It's more than batting practice.
You know, when you break the essence of this game down, this is what it is right here. It's the pitcher and the batter. Now back again.
Goodness gracious. It's like this may be his 12th pitch coming up, but he's been through about 9 baseballs. I have to go out to my trunk and get mine.
You carry your bats, your balls, and your glove?
If it's a sporting equipment, piece of equipment, I've got it.
Doing good, Adam. You're doing good. I ain't getting nothing.
I don't have jumper cables, though. Don't have room.
Well, let's do it all over again. Line drive right into the glove of Scott Shade. And that will end the 6th inning. 2 runs, only 3 hits in that 6th inning. And the Crimson Tide leave 3 runners on base. And Dave, you know, once again, they left runners in scoring position.
For the game, Larry, they've left 7 runners on, 6 of them in scoring position.
That combined with the fact that they left 24 on base at Ole Miss last weekend, 16 of them in scoring position, 11 left on base last night, 6 in scoring position. So Alabama struggling to get runners home when they've got him in position to put him across the plate. Right now it's Auburn clinging to a 5-3 lead. It's an Alabama team trying to pick up the 2nd win.
There we got a lot of scores around the Southeastern Conference.
Well, let me give it to you, and you give us those scores. Take us to the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
All right, Larry, thank you. South Carolina and Kentucky in that rain delay in Lexington. Florida trying to double up Georgia. They won last night 12-6, winning again. Tennessee over Ole Miss. That game just getting underway. Ole Miss lost last night. Tennessee and Oxford, Mississippi, or LSU now continues their string of keeping Arkansas scoreless. It's to 11 innings, and Mississippi State and Vanderbilt later on tonight. That one in Nashville, Tennessee. And the standings around the conference have not exactly gone as people might have expected. If you start in the West, LSU was expected to win the division. Now they have turned it around. They have got their bats going. They seem to be putting the pieces together. They're now 10-8 in the Southeastern Conference. But Alabama, expected to finish by some people 4th or 5th in that division, have really come on strong. And of course they lead Ole Miss by 2 games after Ole Miss lost last night. And we move to the 7th. First pitch swinging from Moran, and he is out at first. So a good 1 pitch, 1 out for Brian Reed. Let's take a look at the SEC Eastern Division. South Carolina and Florida, as well as Georgia, all in that race. Tennessee needs to have a good weekend against the Rebels on the road this weekend to get back in that race. The time running out. The SEC tournament just around the corner at the end of May at Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. And the top 8 teams from the SEC will move on. Bobby Huddleston steps in with 1 down. Only he and Vines are the only 2 players on the Auburn team to not have a hit this afternoon. That's shocking, considering Bobby's hitting .379. Came in hitting .387. Poston lined out, flied out, popped out. First, third, fifth innings. Bobby's got some arms on him now. And Steve Renfro telling us he's trying to land another big power hitter as well to come in next year to help this Auburn baseball team out. Probably a guy that has the same kind of arms as Bobby.
Well, if he can hit as well, he'll have a good one then.
Bobby draws a walk, moves on to first base. Brent Pratt steps in, the catcher. He has been working his tail off behind the plate, as has Jeremy Brown. Both those guys are a mess down there. They got stuff all over them. Jeremy Brown's got that Alabama clay all over his uniform. So does Pratt. Both these guys catching a lot of innings this year. One error for Jeremy Brown this season. No errors for Trent Pratt. I think Jeremy Brown only has 4 errors his entire career here at Alabama. And there's a guy that's played every day since he got on campus.
In several positions.
An amazing story. A 1-1. That's a nice fastball. In there for a strike. 1-2.
Well, Brian Reed does a nice job of disguising his pitches as they come up there. He's 6'1". He's about 200, 205. Keeps that ball in the glove for a pretty good long period of time before it comes out of there.
Once again, Alabama spots Auburn a sizable lead. It was 5 runs yesterday in the 4th. Today it was 4 runs in the 2nd. The Tide went 8-6 last night. It's 5-3 Auburn now. So we're in the top of the 7th inning.
We got a Meridian Community College. Travis Garner, who also played there.
Fouled out of play, heads up. Oh boy. Let's hope everybody's all right. I think she'll be all right. Hit her in the hand.
Trying to make the catch.
You know who's a couple of rows down? Scott McClanahan's father, former Auburn baseball player. That's a foul ball.
Boy, it wasn't fouled by much. The ball kicked up a little chalk dust inside that first base bag. You know, if it hits the line and then it goes over the bag, even if it goes over foul territory, if it goes over the bag, it's a fair ball.
Home plate umpire Wayne Hallbrook will take a look at the baseball, change it out. Here's a 3-2, fouled straight back. We're going to run out of baseballs. That one sneaks through the net. Souvenir for a fan right in front of us.
Hey, Dave, speaking of college baseball, we've got a good game tonight.
We do have an excellent baseball game coming your way after this one tonight. It's it doesn't get much better than this out of the ACC. The #1 ranked team in the country facing the 3rd ranked team in the country, Clemson and Wake Forest. For many of you in our viewing audience, there's a fly ball right field. It's a lazy fly. Garner will make the catch, and Huddleston is back at first base. So 2 down in the inning now.
For those of you who follow college baseball, you're aware that Wake Forest beat Clemson last night in the first of that 3-game set.
The first baseman, Scott Shade.
Here's Scott Shade stepping in. The 2 down, runner on first. Scott Shade today has struck out, doubled, and grounded out. Came in to score back in the 2nd, part of that 4-run inning.
Good breaking ball.
0-2.
We started that thing about armpit high and then ended up below the belt buckle. See, one thing I like about Reed, he gets the ball in his hands and he's ready to go.
Yes, he is. That's it out of play into the parking lot.
Hey, speaking of pitchers, I had a chance to wander downtown Monday to go watch Curt Schilling pitch for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Downtown Atlanta, that is.
Downtown Atlanta, yeah. And, boy, what a clinic he put on Monday night. 8 innings of just absolutely superb pitching.
And misses inside. It's a shame for Atlanta Braves fans. They didn't have a chance to see. Well, I guess it's not a shame if you're a Braves fan, but Randy Johnson missed that series. But I mean, what a 1-2 combo, those Schilling and Johnson. Goodness.
Schilling really came to being a good pitcher late in his career. Johnson has been for years. He was masterful on Monday. Out it to Ted.
That just misses.
And we're at the Joe. Ted, Joe.
Yeah. When are we going to be at the Larry? Line. McClanahan comes in and makes the catch. The sign says 2/3 of the world is covered by water. The other third covered by Scott McClanahan. How appropriate here at the Joe. We move to the bottom of the 7th. It's a 2-run contest.
I am Ruth Riley. My life revolves around sports. I love to watch sports, to play sports. My favorite movie is Hoosiers. Not a tough choice. The best movie ever made. My mom means everything to me, and my family has been so supportive of me along the way. I do try to answer all my fan mail. If people take the time to write to me, that's the least I can do is take the time to write them back.
For Miami Soul tickets, call 786-777-4SOL or log on to miamisoul.com.
Log on to SunshineNetwork.com to play the Mercedes-Benz Hole-in-One Challenge. Take one swing on 9 different holes and see how close you can get to the pin. Win money if you stay in the fairway or make it on the green. And if you make a hole-in-one, it's worth $100,000. But watch out, no gopher hazards. Stay out of the water, in bounds, and off the beach. And you might find your name posted on the leaderboard. So log on and tee it up in the Mercedes-Benz Hole-in-One Challenge.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Granny's Motorsports.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Action Fun Sports.
5-3, Auburn leads Alabama. We move to the top of the 8th inning. This Alabama team certainly made some noise nationally when Jim Wells took over this program. Last year, however, they didn't make it to the SEC tournament. That had something to do with the relievers. This year, he feels he's got the pieces to get back to the College World Series.
The bullpen has given us a chance to think of Omaha again. And we're able to win games in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, which most of the games are determined then. So that's been the determining factor. We've gotten good leadership from Jeremy Brown and all the seniors, McClanahan, Cormier, Boyd. And having those 4 seniors back with a bullpen is the difference, I think.
Last night, they got a spectacular performance out of the bullpen, Larry. And they're getting a good one today out of Reed. But last night, Taylor Tankersley was awesome.
He was. And, you know, all 3 of the guys that he brought in this year have really contributed. Brent Carter, the freshman, and Taylor Tankersley, the young man you're talking about, the freshman. And Brian Reed, who's on the mound right now, the junior college transfer. All three of these guys have made such a difference for this Alabama team. They didn't have that bullpen last year, and this year it has made a big difference.
Well, just today, Reed came in with one down, bases loaded, and got out of the jam, and that Auburn could have opened up this game. Slider from Reed. Doug Vines looking for his first hit today. Reed has done a nice job. Has 8 saves for this club. And a team best ERA. That's it out of play of 1.44. So it'll be the 8, 7, 8, 9 hitters coming up for Auburn here. Line right to Adam Pavkovich. And Adam records out number 1 here in the 8th.
The second baseman, Code Hewlett.
How about the SEC having 5th, 6th, and 7th teams in the Baseball America poll? There's an easy 300 Stoner to Brent Boyd out number 2 for Reed. It's pretty good stuff.
Well, both the leagues, I mean, SEC and the ACC have turned out some awfully good baseball teams through the years. It just seems to come together this year that both of those leagues are dominating the upper division of college baseball. Not just in the South, but in the country.
Yeah, it's a great year for baseball around the South. And there for a strike. You mentioned it when Jim Wells went to the mound and took Jared Woodward out of the game. He says he's just looking for somebody to throw strikes. Well, he found the right guy. That's all this guy's doing is throwing it over the plate.
That's all you want. When you go down the bullpen, you bring your guys in, you say, look, I want strikes. Woodward couldn't do it. Reed can and is.
The 0-2 with 2 down. Just misses. Peralman with a couple of hits today, an RBI, has scored a run.
I like his demeanor out there. Just give me the ball and let's get going.
Got him. Peralman sits down. And the Tigers go 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. The tie. They're running out of time, but they have some left. Down 2.
Can a bank help you catch the spirit of the Southeastern Conference? It can if it's Regions and Morgan Keegan. Because throughout the Southeast, you'll find more than 680 convenient locations, providing greater service to our customers. So whether your team is just going for bragging rights or a shot at the national title, only one financial team has the strength to be there with you. Regions and Morgan Keegan, official sponsor of the SEC Championship.
For the most up-to-the-minute insight on all your favorite SEC teams, log on to SECSports.com. It's all there. Stats, standings, schedules, scores, rankings, records, and more. You can listen to weekly coaches' press conferences and watch highlights of past SEC championships. Get closer to the action than ever before with an exclusive free subscription to the SEC Insider and instantly access SECStore.com to gear up with all your favorite SEC team merchandise. So if you're into it, then get into it at SECSports.com.
Auburn looking good today with a 2-run lead. We moved to the bottom of the 8th inning. Last night, Alabama rallied to win 8-6 over the Auburn Tigers. The starting pitcher for that particular game was one of the best pitchers in America, Lance Cormier, who has an 8-1 record on the mound and a 2.59 ERA. But he's also a first-class performer in the classroom. He's a finance major. He needs about 12 hours to graduate. And some of the classes he's taking, business management, financial accounting, money markets, and clinical experience. I wonder what that is.
I'm going to tell you what, if he gets money and markets down pat, I want him to come in and tell me a few things.
And a stumble over at first base after the base hit. Chad White was running down to first. I hope he's all right. But feet came out from under him.
Well, a little bit of a slip right here. Whoa! Almost did the header. He didn't even get to the bag. He looks back and he says, "That blade of grass tripped me."
He's all right. He'll take the single. Got his uni a little dirty.
Good insertion into the lineup of Chad White today. A couple of hits, a run scored, 2 for 3.
And a great start for the Tide here in the 8th. Corey Dewitt continues to work in relief of Colby Paxton.
You know, Dave, oftentimes you hope that when you get to the bottom of the order, that's a little bit easier for you. But today it's been kind of reverse. The Alabama bottom of the order has been the team, or part of the team, that's really performed the best for them today.
The 7, 8, and 9 hitters have 5 hits and a walk amongst them. And 2 of the 3 RBIs as well. There's a man who has 1 of those RBIs. The other goes to the man on deck, Travis Garner, who has back-to-back doubles, does Garner. That just misses. Sosa, who has struggled dramatically in SEC competition, hitting .096. And it looks like we've got some issues in that Alabama dugout. A.J. Lastaglio chatting with somebody in that Alabama bench. And I couldn't see exactly who he was referring to. First base coach Danny Watkins over there. And a little chat as well with A.J. Lastaglio. The crowd's been all over A.J. today. They've been all over everybody that hasn't been wearing the crimson and white. Al Davis got a little bit from the crowd. Wayne Hallbrook gets applauded. The home plate umpire, after signaling ball 4. First and second, nobody out. Alabama's got it going here. And they're facing a red-hot hitter in Travis Garner. He doubled in the 5th, doubled in the 6th, and picked up an RBI. It's his 12th 2-hit game this season. Today he's 2 for 3. All Garner does is hit. He's hitting .403 in league games, Larry.
He's been terrific. He's one of the few guys, you know, oftentimes I look at the comparison of overall hitting versus SEC hitting, and take a look at the guys that do the best in conference play, and he's one of those guys. Talked about his hitting. He came into the game hitting .408. He's one of only 4 hitters in the everyday lineup that has a better hitting percentage in the Southeastern Conference than they do overall.
He gets in the 9 hole, giving you a good combination. And McClanahan leads off the game, and or as the leadoff hitter is on deck now. Dewitt just misses, and we have some activity in that Auburn bullpen again. Mike Miller down there, along with Arnold Huey. The 1-0. That's a strike on the outer half of the plate. Once again, the topic today has been Alabama's inability to be successful with runners in scoring position. And here they have it again. They've presented themselves opportunities. They just haven't closed the deal. A bunt to the middle. Dewitt. Only play will be over to first. That's out number 1, but mission accomplished. Runners at second, third, a base hit. Will more than likely tie this thing up in the 8th.
Nice bunting that time by Travis Garner. How about Jim Wells asking a guy who's been up his last 2 times and had back-to-back doubles, including an RBI double in the 6th, to go up there and sacrifice and move runners into scoring position. Good job by Travis Garner.
We're going to have a pinch runner out there at second base for Alabama.
Mike Miller.
That's Alan Rice making his way out.
I'm sorry.
There.
All right, Alan Rice.
So Sosa got a rare start today in his 7th start in SEC competition. Did a nice job at an RBI today. Replaced by Rice. And Steve Renfro makes his way to the mound to chat with his pitcher, Corey Dewitt. There's Mike Miller, even though it's spelled M-U-E-L-L-E-R. It's pronounced Miller. Arnold Huey also out there. Number 8, the left-hander, and Miller is the right-hander.
And of course, Miller threw 1 1/3 innings last night. Gave up 1 earned run, only 1 hit. He walked a couple of batters.
Here we go, 2nd and 3rd. Corey Dewitt, who to this point has done nicely out of the bullpen, faces a tough jam here. 1 out, first base is open, and a tough out, and Scott McClanahan, the senior. The sophomore Pavkovich on deck. McClanahan hitting .408 with runners in scoring position, 20 of 49. Ground ball back up the middle. Only play is going to be to first. Geralman gets the out, but a run scores as Chad White, who singled to start the inning, comes home, and we've got ourselves a 1-run ball game.
Watch Geralman behind the bag pick this one up. And once again, the bunt got runners into scoring position, and they got one of those two home. McClanahan beats the ball down into the ground. Geralman with a good, strong throw. And dad and wife pleased that they got the run in.
There's Amanda in the white shirt, blonde hair is Scott's wife. Pavkovich singled back in the 3rd, walked in the 1st. Flied out and lined out his last 2 times up. And breaking pitch in the dirt, 1-1, 2 down in the inning. The runner, Alan Rice, is over at 3rd base. There he is. Pitch running for Carlos Sosa.
Base hit, Adam, base hit.
90 feet away from tying this up. That's hit almost right through Alan Rice. Instead, it's just a foul ball.
I tell you, coaching 3rd base could be hazard duty paid down there. Jim Gatewood, the 3rd base coach, kind of gave a little Olay there too.
We've got a dynamite game here. Don't forget, coming up for many of you in our audience, it'll be Clemson and Wake Forest, number 1 versus number 3, ACC baseball action. That's it out of play. Last time, Pavkovich faced 15 pitches. Not this time. Tough play made out there at second by Hewlett, but he kept his composure, and he gets the out. And Alabama has now left 8 runners on base today, and they're 1 run shy of tying Auburn. We go to the 9th in a great rivalry game.
Right now at your Yamaha dealer. Every motorcycle, every ATV can be yours for only $49 per month at 3.99 APR. Plus, get up to $750 in free accessories on select models. Get the Yamaha you want right now, because a deal this good won't last forever.
Save today on your new Yamaha at Granny's Motorsports.
One series can save a season.
Iverson with 54 points.
One game can decide a series.
Ray Allen driving past Armstrong. The jam over McGrady.
And one shot can mean the difference between winning and going home.
A spectacular history-making comeback.
Don't miss the 2002 NBA playoffs on TBS and TNT. Coverage continues all month long. Sponsored by Circuit City. If it's April, it's win or go home.
As you can see, we're down to one inning unless Alabama can tie it up. It's 5-4 after a 4-run second by the Tigers. Alabama has clawed their way back into it, both teams with 10 hits. And we've had a good one today. And don't forget, coming up next, it's ACC College Baseball. Number 3, Wake Forest. And number 1, Clemson, live from Doug Kingsmore Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. Mike Hogwood and Dan Bonner have all the action coming up right after this game. So stay with us. Brian Reed stays in for Alabama. The third pitcher used by the Crimson Tide today.
Oh, good breaking ball that time by Reed. That was a terrific pitch.
Reed has been awesome. Facing the top of the order, Jonathan Sherholtz. Fastball upstairs.
He's retired 5 in a row. Last guy to get on base was Huddleston when he walked back in the 7th inning.
Here's what Reed done so far in his relief appearance. 2 hits, struck out 2 in 3 2/3 innings. All he does is throw strikes. Sherholtz goes down for the second time today. He led off the game looking at a 3rd strike and does it again here in the 9th.
Reed again. Look at this pitch. Ball's got a lot of movement on it. Caught the outside part of the plate. That ball was moving away. You could see the catcher, Jeremy Brown, his glove moving away.
And I really think Jonathan has seen so many breaking pitches. I think he was expecting curveball there and didn't get it, or at least a slider. Reed fires to Gamble. That's out of play. Gamble today has a single, reached on an error, struck out once and grounded into a double play. Alabama pitchers have now struck out 8 this afternoon. When you look at Alabama's numbers, you know, their record when they do this or when they do that, they're all very successful, obviously, when you have 36 wins. But the one number that sticks out in terms of comebacks, they've made their comebacks in the 6th and 7th and 8th innings. In the 9th, they're just 1-7 when they trail. They will try to buck that trend. If they can hold Auburn here and come up with a big bottom of the 9th.
Well, they came back last night.
Meat of that Alabama order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. There's a fly ball. Shallow left field. White makes the catch. Out number 2. Javon Moran steps in. Number 3 hitter in this lineup. Has singled, grounded out twice, and also had a single back in the 5th. So 2 for 4 afternoon for Javon Moran. There's a breaking pitch that stays upstairs. Crowd liked it, but that's not the issue here.
Never is.
And misses outside. 2-0 to Moran. Fouled straight back. 2-1. Reed really gets his body into these pitches. Watch just how much energy he exerts bringing it to the plate. Line drive center field. Scott McClanahan right on the spot. The Crimson Tide could be down to their last at-bats. 1 for the Tide, 2 for the win. Back after this.
There's a light in your soul that says you're one of a kind. Don't never let it go. Be original, an individual, like Dr. Pepper. Be you, do what you do. Be you, do what you do. Be you, do what.
Gearing up for SEC basketball won't be complete without first visiting one of your local Hibbett sports stores. Here you'll find the brand new SEC collection and a money savings offer from Golden Flake. Whenever you purchase a 12 1/4 ounce bag of Golden Flake thin and crispy chips, you'll receive a coupon worth 20% off any SEC collection item. And when you buy collection merchandise, you'll get a coupon for buy one, get one free off Golden Flake's Mazitos brand tortilla chips. It's a win-win when you're wearing the SEC collection.
Coming up next, number 3, Wake Forest. Number 1, Clemson. They are moments away, but we have got a thriller here in Tuscaloosa. Before we get to that one, you can't beat it. 2 of the top 3 teams in America going toe-to-toe. That's for many of you in our viewing audience after this contest, but we move to the bottom of the 9th inning. Alabama, 3 more outs, but they got the heart of the order up. Peter Stoner, the second baseman, number 3 man in the lineup. Jeremy Brown, the 4th, and Boyd, hitting in the 5th slot, will bat 3rd this inning. Stoner 1 for 4 with a single and RBI. Line, left field. Gamble on the run, bounces off the wall, gets past Gamble. Stoner around second, will hold up there. Oh, my.
You know, when Gamble took off to go get that ball, I thought he had a chance to catch it, and it kept tailing away from him. Trying to chase a butterfly right here. Ball kept going away from him. I think it kind of surprised him. I think he thought he had a pretty good shot at catching it, too.
16th double for Stoner this year. And his second hit this afternoon. And here is Jeremy Brown. Singled his last time up. A couple of walks today. Hit into a double play. Fastball from Dewitt in there for a strike. Can Alabama do another come from behind win? I mean, this is amazing, this club.
I'm going to tell you, the guy at the plate right now could end this with 1 swing.
Brown has 10 home runs, 50 RBIs. That misses. 1-1 the count. Hit it out of play. Behind 1 and 2 is Brown. This is the 3rd inning today that Alabama has started with a double in the 2nd and in the 5th. And in neither inning did they score a run. Stoner at second, the 2-2 on the way. Brown stays alive.
Well, Dewitt made a nice pitch right there.
Those are one where you expect to get the out.
Exactly. Yeah. He chased that a little bit. Fortunate to stay alive. Good split screen right there of the pitcher on the right, hitter on the left. Jeremy Brown, outstanding catcher. Terrific offensive player. Great bat. Dewitt trying to shut him down.
Got him. Dewitt just did it for out number 1. Just a nasty breaking pitch.
Oh, that's a good looking pitch, isn't it? He had Brown out in front on his front foot. Couldn't hold that bat back. Well, you can see the reaction by the dugout in the background right there. Steve Renfro pumping that fist.
But Larry, he may have won that battle, but the war is far from over because he's got Brent Boyd stepping in. Another senior on this club. He's been in this situation, had a clutch hit last night, and just plainly a tough out. Fouled it out of play. So do it, getting it around the strike zone, getting ahead in the count.
Dewitt came on in the 6th inning with 2 down. He got the 3rd out after Alabama had scored a couple of runs. He's gone 2 2/3 now. He's given up 3 hits, 1 run, and that run is earned. A strikeout and a walk.
The 0-1. Hammered left field. I don't think the park will hold it. Game over. Crimson Tide win it 6-5. Larry Conley, what can you say?
Dave Neal, it was a pitch up where he likes it. Brent Boyd just nailed it. His 6th home run of the year, his 33rd and 34th runs batted in. Boy, did that dugout erupt, and did this crowd jump to their feet. What a great baseball game.
Brent Boyd, the senior, does it for the Tide. The rivalry will continue in this series as Alabama on consecutive nights comes from behind. Last night it was a 5-run deficit. Today a 4-run deficit. And Brent Boyd with a home run to beat Auburn. They will have Game 3 tomorrow right here at Sewell Thomas Stadium. For Larry Conley, I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Sewell Thomas Stadium in Tuscaloosa as Alabama wins it 6-5 in a thriller. Be sure and join us for more SEC college baseball when the LSU Tigers battle the Tennessee Volunteers live from Knoxville, Tennessee next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Coming up next, it's more great baseball, SEC style. Number 3, Wake Forest. Number 1, Clemson. You have been watching college baseball on your regional home for SEC baseball. So long, everybody. We'll see you down the road. We hope you enjoyed it.
I've been looking so long for what I want. She twisted me up and then she turned me down.
The Sea Coupe with panorama glass roof. Use it how you see fit. Value unlike any other.
Make me feel good.
Hi, I'm Dorinda Washington, and this is my husband, Craig. Every year we walk in March of Dimes Walk America to help give babies a fighting chance. Our son Justin was born 4 months premature and struggled to survive in a NICU, just like this one.
Thanks to the March of Dimes medical advances in specialized neonatal intensive care, Justin survived and thrived.
Please give babies a fighting chance. Join March of Dimes Walk America and be a hero for the tiniest babies. Call 1-800-525-WALK and register today.
It happens in the blink of an eye.